Live. So we are live. Welcome to another Ask Your Mentor Anything Live. This Friday we have with us Martina Eco. Martina, hi, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Virginia. Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. As I was telling you, it's pretty hot here, warm the weather today in Greece, Athens. So okay, we will manage it.
Lucky you.
Yeah?
Yeah, here it's still cold and I'm really looking forward to the warmer weather.
So people are joining us already. So let us know in the comments, where are you watching us from? I always ask that. I'm really curious where you are watching us from. And definitely use the comments below to ask us anything about our today's topic. Of course, we have Alastair's question that was actually the reason we chose this topic for this week. And definitely we're going to cover this question. But definitely use the comments. Okay, hello Dorota from Poland. How are you? Do you have any specific question for today's topic, which actually is, hello Ileana, nice to see you ladies. So we have some people that they're joining us every Friday, and the last 2 weeks I didn't know. Hello Elena, Italian girl watching from Germany, amazing. Thank you ladies for joining us. So let us know in the comments if you have any question, and of course share with us your unique selling proposition. So even if you don't have any questions, you can say in the comments your unique selling proposition so as to receive feedback from me and Martina. So this is your chance. Okay, so I'm just checking the chat to see that I'm able also to see you in the chat in our groups. We're broadcasting live in the Mentoring for Translators group on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So today's topic, identifying your unique selling proposition as a translator. And of course, as we mentioned, the question we got in the questionnaire was like, I'm having difficulties identifying a unique selling proposition. I know I'm good, but what is unique about my business and who to target? I haven't been able to work that out and don't know how to go about this. So this is our main question that definitely we are going to cover. Martina, so I usually ask the speakers, the guests to introduce themselves, but you're the second time here. So maybe if you would like to say a few words, because those that they are watching us, they can go back and watch our live 1 year ago. You were, I think, the third person who actually trusted me and joined this initiative. And since then, we have more than 100 interviews. And you can find all of them in the live section of our group or on my YouTube channel. So thank you for the trust. Thank you for being a great friend and professional. And for those that they might see you for the first time, if you would like to say a few words before we get into our topic.
Sure. So I'm Martina. I'm an Italian translator. I'm based in lovely Hove, which is a seaside town in the south of England. I work with marketing texts mainly because marketing is my specialization. I have an MSc in marketing and I work as a marketing and business consultant as well for translators, freelancers and small businesses here in the UK and online. You may have seen me at a few conferences. I do courses, webinars and the like. And yeah, you can find me online, you know, websites as 3P Translation, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. So please do get in touch if you want to stay in touch.
Yeah, and we're going actually to share your details later on for those that would like to stay in touch directly. And of course, Martina is a member of the Mentoring for Translators group, so you can actually continue the discussion and tag Martina in our group to ask her anything about our topic or in general the marketing side, because she's a marketing expert and she provides marketing consultation as well. So definitely Martina is the best right contact and person to contact for those topics. And of course, this is why I chose Martina to discuss for this topic as well, because I know Martina, she has given presentations on this topic as well. And if I remember right, we met definitely at Canary Islands Werewolf presenters there, and you had a great presentation and you had included a roadmap for this topic, including unique proposition. So Do you want to get into the topic or say something about? Definitely has changed your location since last year. So usually, how the pandemic has maybe affected your business, or if you have had any good or bad things like going on in your business. I know that you have had many changes in your personal life, okay, because I'm a friend as well, but I think that those were not because of the pandemic. So it was like changes that you had decided to go into. So briefly, if you would like to share something positive or something definitely that you, okay.
So before the pandemic, I used to work with a lot of hospitality companies, so hotels and the like, which obviously were really badly affected by the pandemic. So I did lose a chunk of clients in that area. But on the other hand, I work with a lot of e-commerce clients, and e-commerce absolutely boomed during the pandemic because everybody went online and bought stuff. So a couple of those companies decided to strengthen their efforts in terms of marketing to other countries such as Italy. And so I had a lot of work coming my way from that point of view. The hotel side of things is picking up now because we're slowly reopening international travel. So it's, you know, it's slowly starting to pick it up. And yeah, I've started doing more consultation work during the pandemic because a lot of translators felt they had the time to dedicate to their own business. I've been doing some work myself on my own business. So I'm part of Virginia's Ultimate LinkedIn Prospecting System program. I'm doing a copywriting course at the moment. I'm studying SEO, so I'm keeping myself quite busy.
I was about to say that you invested a lot, okay, in your personal and CPD professional development as well. So definitely, I've seen that a lot. It's a great opportunity for those that they have been affected by the COVID. Why not to actually give it as an opportunity and invest in their business so as to be ahead of their competition in the future, or actually to cover any other areas that they might see as opportunities in the future coming up because of the pandemic. So definitely your approach is a great example for those that they find it difficult to move on after the COVID, or they have been actually affected their niche or specialization like yours because of COVID. So thank you for mentioning that. And thank you for being in my program. It's a great experience to have you. Yeah, definitely. So let's dig into our topic. So what is a unique selling proposition? So we promised that we will start by defining what it actually is, so as to know all of us that we're talking for the same thing.
Absolutely. So the unique selling proposition, you may have heard the term quite a lot of times, or USP, unique selling point. Different people refer to it in a different way. But what it is, it's a statement that identifies and describes what makes your business different from the business of your competitors, and what, you know, makes it unique in the market. The thing I've noticed, so it's quite simple. You know, it's a statement. It's just a sentence, basically, which makes it sound very easy. But then actually getting to that statement, to that sentence, is the hard part, because especially in our industry, I would say, we tend to think of our unique selling proposition as a specialism or a degree that we may have, or, you know, the sort of type of texts that we work with, but very rarely that would be something that sets us aside and apart from the competition. Because let's face it, there are thousands of other, potentially thousands or even more translators who work in the same language combination as you, have the same areas of specialism as you, who may hold the same degree as you do. So those factors really don't make you that different from the rest, don't really set you apart and make a client say, oh, that's the person I'm looking for, unless of course you have a combination of very rare aspect, so a rare language combination in a very highly specialized field where there aren't that many competitors, and where you may have a degree, a specific degree, not just a translation degree, but for example, chemical engineering degree, something that not a lot of other translators would have. So the idea behind formulating your USP for me is to really look at yourself in a more holistic way, not just as a professional, but as a person as well, and really understand what your ideal clients are after, what their needs are, what their pain points are, their problems are, and what makes you especially suited to meet those needs and solve those problems.
This is a combination of things. Rarely is one thing or the other. It's a combination. That's okay. The holistic way or approach that you mentioned.
Absolutely.
So we see questions already in the group. If they're not actually right away related to what we are discussing, we can answer them at the end. So Elena, we saw your question about SEO. So Martina might be able to share some resources at the end or later on in our group. Ileana mentioned that the same was for her the last year. So she mentioned that she most probably, Ileana is a mentee of mine. She has participated in my both fully booked translator formula and the ultimate LinkedIn prospecting system. And she was working as an interpreter for the hotel and industry that you were into. So she was affected directly, both because of the interpreting and the niche that she has had, but she changed the whole approach. She invested in her CPD, personal and professional development, and actually, Ileana hearts. So thank you, ladies, for mentioning that. So we already covered what is a unique selling proposition and the difficulties we see in our profession. I don't know, in my approach, usually in my programs, we invest at least 1 week of the program to actually work on our unique selling proposition, even though it's just one branding item of our business. Because of the reasons you mentioned, we found really hard in one sentence that most probably will have a specific number of characters to describe what we do, what industry we serve, okay, and what in between all of this makes us unique. It makes it a bit of trickier than we think. This is why at least 1 week in my programs we invest in that. And I see that some of my mentees, they struggle, they take even longer to actually find a tagline or headline that actually they feel satisfied by sharing that maybe on LinkedIn or other social media profiles, because you mentioned what is a unique selling proposition, but actually nowadays we tend to connect with our social media presence because we use it a lot on our online profiles.
Absolutely.
So is there anything else you'd like to add? Yes?
No, in terms of what it is, I think it's that simple, really. What's more, I think, difficult and interesting at the same time is actually how to go about defining your USP, which I think was the second point on our sort of set list of topics. So as I mentioned before, I like to look at it from a more holistic point of view and look at not just your professional profile, but your personality as well. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is to what I call creating an inventory of your personality traits, your skills and your values. And I can share some resources to do that later in the comments. So really looking at what defines you as a person, what sort of traits people remember you by, and just to give you a little, tiny little example from real life. I once went to this networking event, in-person event, this was years ago when it was still allowed, with a bunch of other freelancers and business owners. And there were free drinks, which are always nice. So I had a beer in my hand. And we were having a discussion about, I can't remember which topic it was, but me being Italian, I use my arms a lot. And so I started using my arm, forgetting that I had a beer in my hand, and I started spilling beer everywhere, right? So most people might think, oh, this must have been so embarrassing. But to me, it was actually just an expression of me being Italian. And these events used to happen every month. And people remembered me because of how I use my hands and like my body language. So I understood that that had to become a defining trait for myself, because people remember that. People remember that, she's Italian, which is something that I want people to remember, because she uses her hands and her arms quite a lot. So this is just to demonstrate how sort of we have to look at ourselves as a person, as a whole, right? So creating that inventory of personality traits, and there's tests that you can do online to, by answering some questions, you can then have a list of personality traits that define you, and you can see if you actually recognize yourself in it. Start to think, okay, what aspects would my ideal clients look for in a translator or an interpreter, or whatever you actually do? What sort of things would they connect with the most? And you can do the same with your skills, so not just your translation skills, because those are a given if you work as a translator, but more of your soft skills, so your communication, your listening skills, your research skills, your leadership skills. Are there any skills that your ideal clients would be looking for, or not necessarily for a translation, but just to establish a relationship? Those are the things that you should be looking at, always having your ideal client in mind, and then drilling down into yourself and see, okay, this is something that I can really highlight about myself, because, for example, a lot of my ideal clients share this personality trait, so they may relate better to me if I highlight that personality trait. And then your values. So what drives you as a professional to do what you do? Do you have people's well-being at heart? If, for example, you translate for the medical field, do you want to help people get educated? Do you want to help brands go global? What's your driving force? What's your why, to say it in Simon Sinek's words? Because people do relate to that, and people are more prone to buy if they share your vision, if they share your purpose. So look at your personality and yourself as a professional and as a person from these points of view. And as I said before, create an inventory of your personality traits, your skills, and your values, and then try to select the ones that you think are most relevant for your ideal clients. So that would be the sort of first step, in my opinion, to get into that uniqueness. Obviously, you may share personality traits or skills with other people, but it's the combination of them and how you actually communicate them that will then set you apart from the others. And again, try to get feedback from your existing clients. For example, at the end of every project, you may send them a little survey saying, what did you enjoy the most about working with me? Was it, communication, the quality of the work, or the fact that I gave you some tips on the original text, or, anything like that, and try to gauge from them what they enjoy.
Yeah, that's really clever. So I have taken pen and paper and I'm writing down. Definitely about recommendation from your clients, or a research, a survey that you can send after you have delivered the project really helps if you have open-ended questions where your clients can actually write, and you can direct them, because usually they don't know what to write, with questions. So we share, like, at least in my programs, 5 to 7 questions you can share with your clients to actually help them answer those questions. Like, if you have had any aha moments while working with me, and those aha moments might include something that you haven't realized you are offering to your clients, and they have a great experience working with you. So up to now, I'm just summing up. Martina mentioned that you need to create an inventory, of your personality characteristics, okay, what defines you as a person. Second, your skills, soft skills, communication, leadership skills that your ideal clients, okay, are looking for in order to buy from your work with you. And of course, your values, what drives you as a professional. And this is the why we say, because there are a lot of marketing online exercises, create your own unique selling proposition. And usually I would like to ask about that, the format, like I help that kind of people to achieve that kind of outcome through that kind of steps. And usually we include the why in between this sentence. I would like your opinion on that. But before getting into the structure, the actual structure of the unique selling proposition, my advice, and I don't know if you agree, Martina, usually I'm into inventory, create. Usually I'm more practical. I would love to see also the credential of that person. So definitely recommend you if you have any credentials. And sometimes we neglect, okay, we don't take them seriously. I've seen that so many times with my mentees. They have such great credentials and they never mention them. I don't know for what reason. In their unique selling proposition, the about section of LinkedIn. So definitely, along with what Martina just mentioned, you can have an inventory with all of your credentials. And I don't know if you can help me with that, Martina, but in my opinion, like credentials might be, for example, of awards or public speaking events. Credential might be your degrees. I don't know if you have any other.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always like to think a bit more sort of, out of the box, if you want. So, for example, past work experiences, I think, are even more powerful than a degree in translation, because it means that you actually lived and thrive in that field that you're now translating in, if you want. So, for example, if you translate in the fashion for the fashion industry and you have experience in fashion retail, by all means, that's a great point of differentiation for you, because it means that you really know that industry. And likewise, if you have a specific degree, as I mentioned before, for example, in chemical engineering or digital marketing or whatever sort of specialism, do highlight that, because that could set you apart from translators who just have a degree in translation. Or any CPD you may have done. It doesn't have to necessarily be a degree, but any course that you've taken, any certificates that you hold. And if you don't have any, I would strongly recommend to go and get some in your areas of specialism. But I think work experience is really powerful in that sense. And, it might not seem as straightforward, but for example, you could have had experience in a slightly different field, but you could have gained some transferable skills that you can apply to your translation. So you may have learned communication skills from a job that doesn't have anything to do with translation, but then you can sort of highlight those skills, sales skills, anything like that. So really try to look into yourself and your history if you want. And if you can build a little portfolio, for example, of your past work, I think that's more powerful than just saying I've translated 1 million words, because I could have translated 1 million words and have been rubbish at it. No one can attest to the quality of that. And if you have testimonials,
combination of things. This is why you mentioned in the beginning, combination. Not only 1 million words can make the work or the results, bring us the results we want, but not only one aspect or our degree, or we need a combination of things to make our clients trust us, to gain their trust and actually, hire us or assign us a project. So portfolio, it's really powerful, actually. And I know the main common question that will come up if I don't have a portfolio, if I don't have past experience, if I'm starting out, or if I restart out. So, for example, you mentioned the past experience, different maybe fields. Like I'm working right now is the second round with my mentee. She actually bought twice my program to work with her niece, and actually she's an engineer herself with the background, and now she provides technical writing. And what better combination actually to have an actual engineering background, to be an engineer yourself, to have 20 plus years of experience in that specific sector, and actually at the same time to be able to provide translation and technical writing, okay, as an additional service, or a new career that you would like to follow. So we have seen many such results, and definitely the past work experience is very powerful. It's a little difficult to include it in one sentence of 200 characters, for example, and this is why usually we don't focus on the previous experience as a whole, because, for example, online platforms like LinkedIn, they have a whole section about work experience that you can go into as much detail as you can. You're welcome, Elena. We will answer your question at the end. And definitely for those that you cannot stay with us, we will have usually stay 45 to 1 hour here live. You can watch the recording either on YouTube. It will stay on my LinkedIn featured section, and of course in the Mentoring for Translators Facebook group. So definitely, Elena, you can catch up later, and definitely you can tag us if you come up with any more questions. So let's get into more practical advice now, the structure, because I bit touched that, but I've seen many different exercises. There are some that are more common coming up lately. I would love your opinion on that as well.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there are some structures that you can find online. There are some structures that have been proven to work really well. I really like the structure that you provide in your LinkedIn program, for example, that you mentioned before. So I help target markets achieve results through these services, and you can add as a, and what makes you unique as a translator. So a translator with 20 years of experience in whatever field, or something like that, or a passion for something, something that really makes you think, makes a client think, okay, they share my same values, or they have 20 years of experience as an engineer, so they really do know what they're doing. Just to get the example from before. But in the end, I think that as long as that information is included in your statement, then you can tweak it and play around with it to suit your more like your style, your writing style, your personality, and also the medium on which you're including the USP. So the headline on LinkedIn, as you said before, is a great place to include your USP, but you do have a character limitation. So you may want to highlight just some of the aspects that you think are most relevant to whoever lands on your profile, whilst on your website, for example, you have a bit more breathing space, so you can include maybe a paragraph, a short paragraph, not a very long one, or your Facebook page description, or even on your CV, something that I don't see very often, and I always like to see, is sort of right underneath your name and job title. Do add your USP, your sort of a statement, if you want.
There's a summary section usually is a summary or introductory section in our CV. So there is where you include your unique selling proposition. You have more space, like 4 to 5 lines there to go a bit of extended. But because you mentioned the characters limitation here, I would like to mention something. We find it as an obstacle. We find it as an obstacle because it makes our life difficult here to create a headline that actually includes all of our, I don't know, unique points there, or the target market, or the niche specialization we have. But for me, it's a great thing that we have a limitation. There is a reason behind that character's limitation. I don't really read a headline that actually 4 or 5 lines on LinkedIn is too long for me, even though they have find hacks like using an iPhone or an iPad to create a longer unique selling proposition. Most of the times doesn't really work. And there is a reason behind of the LinkedIn algorithm and why LinkedIn chose to have a specific characters limitation, because they have seen that this works best. They have seen how much time visitors on your profile they spend on each of your section. So even though it's an obstacle, we see it as an obstacle, I would definitely recommend you to respect those characters limitation, because it's for your own good, okay? It makes a great unique selling proposition. It has the characters numbers that are needed, okay? Not more, not less, so as to attract the attention of your ideal clients and the readers and visitors of your profile, and actually have the results that you want by using your unique selling proposition. So yes, again, I'm repeating, is a big obstacle to write down everything that you have in your mind about yourself and limit it to specific characters, numbers, but there is a reason behind of that. Definitely works in favor of you and your online presence. And to sum up, already Martina shared with us where you can use, because also we see here your question, where you can use your unique selling proposition. So Martina already mentioned your LinkedIn profile, the headline section, your CV, the introductory summary section, your Facebook public page, or even your profile. There is a section where underneath your name or on the left part of your screen on your profile, you can include your unique selling proposition, a sentence, again, with a specific characters number limitation. Your website, of course, Martina, you mentioned. I don't know if you had in mind any other means.
I mean, the Instagram bio comes to mind, but even more limited than
even shorter. Even shorter on Instagram.
I know. But you can use emojis there, for example, to, you know, for the languages, for example, just use the flag and you save on characters. What else? A brochure, for example, if you're a translator who goes to trade shows to promote your services, you might have a brochure. Your portfolio, it could be sort of the introduction summary section of your portfolio, and then have examples of your work.
Business card. Business cards,
I would keep it very simple, just with
like the headline, one sentence.
Just a sort of professional title, language combination, and contact details, and point more on the graphics, because that's where you remember from a business card. But any sort of printed material, if you do, I don't know, leaflets or postcards to businesses, include it as a sentence there. Any online profiles that you have, they always have a section that it's either called about or headline or bio, so you can include that in there. If you take part in online conferences, for example, on a lot of platforms nowadays, you have you can just not share your name. You have sort of a database with your profile, and you can include that on your profile. On your pros profile, you can include your USP. On any sort of freelancer platform, anywhere you can think of, really.
Yeah, I was about to tell you that, in my opinion, when I get asked where can I use my unique selling proposition, is wherever your name is. The second sentence that follows your name should be your unique selling proposition. The shorter, okay, the better, but definitely follows your name wherever this is shown. Is it on Instagram, online profiles, conferences, platforms that you get your clients? Everywhere next to your name, you should have your unique selling proposition, which actually is the new headline. You explain to your clients, okay, what you do, what target market you serve, how you can help them, just through one sentence. And this is so powerful, and at the same time, this is why it's such a difficult task. But what I would like to add additionally is the fact that you can change it, okay? Don't worry, because we tend to overthink. We tend to find it that difficult. Like the person who asked that question in our questionnaire is a very established, experienced translator who said that he has difficulties identifying his unique selling proposition and to find what is unique about his business offer and who to target. So definitely it's not something only starting out translators struggle with. But my main concern behind of those struggles is actually that we tend to overthink. And we think that if we settle to one sentence, we cannot change it in the future. It's a big no, okay? You need to start from somewhere, okay? Test that unique selling proposition. Ask some of your colleagues, okay, their opinion about this. Test it with your clients. And of course, on LinkedIn, there are metrics where actually you can see if it works or not for you. And definitely you can say it is not a static CV. The online presence nowadays is not a business card that you will print it and you cannot, for example, afford printing it right after. But definitely you can go and change it as many times as you want. And I know two questions that come up after this. So I'm going to be a different niche or expert every couple of months. No, can be similar to what you do, but can be a bit restructured so as to serve your needs at that time of the period. For example, Martina is taking several courses, copywriting, SEO right now. Why not, like after a couple of months, to add those, okay? And you definitely need to do that in her unique selling proposition. That doesn't mean that she's inconsistent, okay? And of course on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is very powerful, whenever you're doing a new campaign, that means that you're targeting a new audience or a target market. Definitely you need to readjust, not change it, okay, from scratch, starting from scratch, but definitely adjusting it to what your ideal clients that you are looking for to get at that time of period or through that campaign, they would need to read on your unique selling proposition, your profile, so as to hire you or start a conversation with you.
Yeah. I like to use the metaphor of the diamond, right? If you think of yourself as a diamond, you only show a certain facet every time, right? But even if you show a different one, the diamond is still the same. But obviously, different people from different angles will see it in a different way. And that's exactly what you want to achieve. Show a slightly different, maybe, side of yourself to different audiences because it would reflect them better.
Thank you.
This is feel precious about it.
Yeah, this is great advice. And this is also answer the question that I get so often, but then I will look consistent, then I will look like that. You're not just one side, okay? You have several sides, as Martina just mentioned with a great example. So I don't know if there is anything else you would like to add. I would like a bit to insist on the structure, because yes, we mentioned one structure that really works. I don't know if there is anything else you would like to add to the structure. But having a structure in your mind really helps you to go step by step to find that information is needed so as to apply to this specific structure. And of course, we started with the inventories and how to write down what makes you unique and how to use it later on. But if you find that as well very difficult, you can start the other way around. Have a structure that you really like, that you've seen at another colleague's profile or as a specialist or an expert, and you really liked it and it works for your industry as well. You can take that structure or from a CPD course that you have taken, like in my program, we share a specific model, and you can apply to your own situation by following step-by-step process. Like Martina, she mentioned, I help that kind of industry. So you need to find out what kind of industry, okay, you have, what kind of companies to achieve that outcome results. You need to know what you help your clients, okay, achieve through your services, through that kind of services, all with a passion. Then you have included your values, or maybe your why at the end, and if the character's limitation allows us. And definitely you can come up with more than one idea. So Alastair, if you're here with us, since we are answering your question, you can come up with 2 or 3, okay, unique selling proposition, create a poll in our group and we can give you feedback. So this also works a lot, because we cannot right away come up with the best, okay, or the ideal unique selling proposition. We, all of us, work and progress a lot when it comes to the unique selling proposition. Is there anything else you would like to add about the structure?
Yes, one other structure that I really like is what Simon Sinek highlights in his well-renowned talk, TED Talk, which is called Start With Why, and it's available on YouTube for everyone to see. And I would strongly recommend everybody to go and watch it after, because it's really eye-opening. And he suggests starting with your why. So what sort of, as I said before, what's your driving force? Why are you doing what you do? What sort of vision do you have in mind? Then going into the how you do it. So the sort of benefits of the service you offer, and in the end what you do, so the service you offer. So something like I am passionate about empowering people to have access to education, and I do that by providing you know, I don't know, translation of expert translations of school certificates or school programs, you know, anything like that. So do watch that video, because I think his structure also works really well. Maybe not so much for LinkedIn, but it can work very well for a website. Yeah,
if you can share that in the link later on in the group.
I will.
Really helpful. Martina, thank you so much. So last but not least are the metrics. So how we can see if actually our unique solution works or not. So one way is to ask for feedback, okay, from other experts in our field or even our clients. But even if you don't ask right away directly the feedback, you can get it with metrics. So for example, I don't know if you want to share your experience, but I can share, for example, Sabella's experience. When she changed just her headline and one photo, she got like 150% more views on her LinkedIn profile. So you see that something works in favor of yours. So it really works to include keywords as well in your unique selling proposition. And I saw a post of someone today on LinkedIn. So what is your headline about? Is about your uniqueness, is about keywords, is about something that you're passionate about. For me, your headline should be everything. Like, should include your uniqueness, should include keywords, especially if you're going to use it for similar platforms. And definitely, why not to show your passion like the way you showed us today, Martina? Do you have anything you would like to share about metrics, or how you can see actually if it works or not, so this unique selling proposition that you came up?
Yeah, I think feedback is possibly the best way to go about it. It could be with your favorite clients, the ones you have a really good relationship with, and then saying, hey, could you help me with that? I'm working on my unique selling proposition. You can get ideas from them, or you can, as Virginia said, come up with maybe 3 options and say, which one do you think describes me best, or which one would you be more sort of attracted to, even if that's not the correct word.
Maybe, or yeah.
And if you still don't have clients with whom you have that kind of relationship, you can do that with your colleagues, for example, with more experienced colleagues, and see what they think. Create a poll in the mentoring group, for example, and see what other people think. That's a really good way. And as you mentioned before, keeping an eye on metrics when you change something in your LinkedIn profile or your Instagram profile or your Facebook, your website. Keep an eye on things like traffic, views, engagement, and see if that change has brought any change in that. Because if you see the numbers going up, then it means you're going in the right direction.
Of course. So we have today such metrics. So we have ways to check if it works or not, especially online. I see comments of Chaba, but doesn't appear in the comments section here. So Chaba, he says, let me chip in. So I'm going to read what he just mentioned. So I've seen many LinkedIn taglines, and some of them start with something: I help brands expand their business in that Greek market, for example, language market. If these are too long, the key point is missing or not visible. For example, the fact that you are a translator. So what do you think, Martina? Can you see it, or you would like me to share it?
I don't see the comment myself, to be honest, but
yeah,
I think
I
get
for my personal profile, it should be here shown, but I'm going to include it, copy paste it. So this is it.
Okay. Many taglines, and some of them start with something like, I help brands expand. If these are too long, the key point is missing or not visible. For example, the fact that you're a translator. We discussed this during your program, Virginia. So the recommendation there is to, put your professional title at first. So English to Italian marketing translator. And then maybe put a symbol or a slash or something, and then do the I help statement. So absolutely get to the point with the first few words, Shaba says.
Exactly, yeah, I've seen that so many times through my mentees. Actually, if I have a few moments to share that story that I shared with you in my program, I had one mentee of mine that she was getting appointments through my program. So through my program, we do the ultimate LinkedIn prospecting system. We get clients and leads. So she actually got results, but whenever she got to an appointment with her clients, they thought she was an investor or something that they would bring them clients. And then I got to review her messages and to review her tagline, and she was telling exactly what Chaba says here, that I can help you win clients, for example, that kind of industry. But she had something like through translation at the end, but everyone most probably would focus on the actual outcome and result that they would love to see. okay, themselves. So they would focus to win clients, get clients. I help you to get clients. So they thought something like that. So whenever she booked an appointment, she was there at the Zoom call with them. They were asking how they help them to get clients. So what Csaba mentions, what Martina just mentioned, is really, really important to make it very, very clear how you help your clients to achieve those outcomes and results. And definitely another recommendation I have whenever that comes, because it's very often in our profession, do not focus that much in the tagline, which is a very short sentence, to the end outcome of your clients. Yes, they will get clients through your services, but maybe a more immediate result that they might have translated a very high quality, their financial reports, okay, is a better or more clear result that they will get through you from your services, rather than the actual end result that they will, okay, at some point get clients or for the application through your localization service, or they will get the funds because you translate their financial reports. But make sure that you have a clear message to them, how you help them to get the funds, how you help them to get clients. And a tip, if we can say, is actually to focus at an earliest outcome that you help them to get, rather than the end one. Okay, that it includes usually more people included, or more services, rather than just translation. For example, we had an example like I help you win your legal cases. Yes, okay, translation, and a good translation might help, okay, a lawyer to win their legal cases, but it's not the only, okay, reason why a lawyer or legal firm is going to win a legal case. So thank you, Csaba, for your point. Thank you, Martina, for the example that you mentioned. Martina, is there anything else you would like to add?
God, I think I've blabbered around for ages now. Not really. I think I've mentioned everything. I'd love to answer some questions.
I would love to see more questions. So we have at least one from Ellen, if you would like to see that now, since we are heading to the end of our call. So she's very curious about books or courses you're using to study SEO. She's also interested in SEO. So if you have something you would like to mention, or if you would like to share the resources in the comments later on, it's up to you.
Well, the main sort of tool that I'm using is the HubSpot Academy, and I can share that in a comment later. They have a lot of free courses all around digital marketing, content marketing, SEO, and also LinkedIn learning courses. So those are the two main sort of places where I go to. I do that, I would say, like sort of in my spare time. So sort of like half an hour a week, I do a bit of listening, and they have, especially the HubSpot ones, they come with really good worksheets that you can keep and you can work on. So really like practical advice, very easy to understand, very, very useful, and they're free.
Can you please recommend a copywriting course? That's from Ileana. We are not affiliated here. We are not affiliates.
No, not affiliate. I'm doing my copywriting course with the College of Media and Publishing. It's a course in English. Yeah, and I like it so far. That's all I can say, really.
And, you know, the whole discussion we're having today is the reason why copywriting is going to be the future in our profession, not only because if we as translators struggle that much, okay, to a couple of sentences include what we do, what services we provide, and what target market we serve, imagine other professions that they're good at words, maybe. So I see, yeah, very, if we can say, high rise of that in the copywriting field of our profession, and many of my mentees, they get into that field and expertise. So thank you, all of you, Csaba, Ileana, Dorota, Elena, Maurice, who else is here, that you joined us live today. Thank you for your insightful comments, inputs, questions. Thank you, Martina, so much. It was such a fun as well. We are like almost 1 hour live. I didn't realize that the time flies with you as always.
It does.
Is there anything else you would like to share before we close? We will share where people can find you. So definitely I would recommend you to reach out Martina directly. I was trying to share in the comments that I'm doing a survey. So for those that you would like to help me with that survey, I provide 30 minutes free online business breakthrough coaching against 30 minutes of interview. And I'm sharing in the comments the link that you just fill in, less than 5 minutes form, and I will get in contact with you. So if you would like to win 30 minutes consultation with me by filling that survey, I would really appreciate your help. And definitely, let's continue the discussion in our group. Martina will be there for you. We will share also the ways that you can contact Martina directly on your social media, 3P Translation website. And Martina is a marketing expert as well, providing consultation to translators. So definitely you can reach out Martina directly if you have any more specific questions that you would like to comment publicly here below. And to mention that you will be able to find the recording as well and tag us in the Mentoring for Translators group, Facebook public page under my name, LinkedIn profile under my name, and on YouTube publicly, of course. Don't forget to tag us if you have any questions for us. Martina, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Can't wait
Thank you, Virginia.
to be in person again in the near future. Yeah, can't wait. The last times.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun, and as always, with you.
And I hope to have you again in the near future. Why not? So, guys, thank you so much, all of you. Have a great weekend. Stay. Next Friday, we have a surprise for you with our lives. Thank you, Martina. See you around. Bye-bye for now. Martina, you stay here with me. Bye-bye.